So you might be feeling stuck right now with your manifestation because you really just think and see that maybe there's just no movement happening. But I'm going to help you guys understand what's actually going on behind the scenes and why your 3D reality is actually going to be the last to shift and what to expect along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and hi to any new viewers. We are delving into your 3D reality, quantum physics, the quantum mechanics of how your reality will shift, shall we say, and how everything just ties in together in a relatively objective, factual, scientific kind of way as well, and logically, to help you guys simplify the process. I like to keep things simple to the point and really uncomplicate the law of assumption. So we're delving into that today. Stay tuned to hear all my advice and how to handle your 3D reality, how to handle the idea of slow movement or no movement. We're going to get into all of that in just a moment. So if anyone is interested or anyone's new, I will pop on screen my coaching information, extra services and support you can get for your manifestation. So everything is linked in the description box right below the screen. There's also a join button for my membership. If you would like to become one of our LOA coaching darlings, then it's an £8.99 monthly membership. You can sign up or cancel whenever you want. And I'm about to film right after this video the exclusive challenge that members get this month. So you do want to join so you don't miss out on that this month. And yeah, now let's start the video. If you're hounding and watching the 3D reality and really taking on board everything you're just seeing there externally, you are already giving it way too much focus, attention, and significance, because what you're looking at is the effect, not the cause. So with cause and effect, what is creating the momentum is your mindset. It's all internal. It's all where your mind is, where your thoughts are, not a reflection of what's going on outside. I'll get more into that, but you're looking at the effect, and then you're looking at the result of something that your mind has created and saying, well, because of that result, that's the reality, that's what's going on. No, the cause is your thoughts. So if you don't like what you're seeing, give it a bit more time, be patient, it will shift eventually. But what you're looking at is not what's causing it. You're looking at the result of your own thoughts. So it's not that, oh, because the 3D reality shows this, I'm going to think and feel this way. What you think and feel is going to shift your 3D reality. Based on literal quantum physics terms, I guess maybe there's a different term for that, but it is the quantum realm, because what you're observing is what comes into effect. So your ideal reality, your relationship with SP, your career, just your life in general, your satisfaction, achieving all the goals and manifestations that you want to, cannot come true, and is only going to come true and be your physical reality when you observe it and when you focus on it consistently. So we are the observers, and we have to be able to observe mentally. I'm not saying observe like literally look outside, look at your 3D reality, but mentally observe, visualize, see it internally, experience it internally for it to become an external reality. So until you do that consistently and you can focus on it and say, this is what I'm creating, this is my manifestation, this is the end result, not just a manifestation, but the literal truth. This is my literal reality. Until you can do that, and yes, usually it does take consistency and repetition over and over and over. That is when it can become your actual reality. That is the only moment in which it will fully be able to materialize. So if you keep focusing on the 3D, keep looking outwards and saying, well, look at what's going on, look at the lack, look at no movement, look at these negative circumstances continuing, then that new reality cannot come into your experience. Remember that all the shifts begin internally, and they usually do start out quite subtle. So yes, you can get really intense movement and a bridge of events, and you can manifest your full end result depending on what it is and where your starting point is mentally. You can get it super quick and all in one go. You don't have to wait, but typically, because there is resistance involved, and if you're watching this video, you've maybe struggled a little bit with the idea of movement, it can be subtle. It usually starts with your emotions, your mind, your dreams, something internally shifting, just even your mood increasing a little bit, your confidence increasing a little bit. It's starting to feel more realistic. It's usually subtle shifts, and then it leads into, the more significant external changes. but it all starts internally. So you're not actually stuck. Your manifestation probably isn't stuck or struggling. It's just been a bit slower. And a lot of times as well, if you're focusing on this idea and you genuinely believe you have slow movement or no movement, then that is mental resistance. That's a negative thought. That's an opposing thought. That's what you want to be aware of and stop in its tracks. Not hold as a fact and say, but I do have slow movement. I do have a lack of movement. You need to change the way you think. It's not about accepting that. It's about recognizing that's a subjective perspective that I have right now, and I'm going to change it because it's mental resistance. It's causing resistance to your ideal reality. It's putting up a temporary block to that reality coming into your existence. So it's important to remember and acknowledge that the 3D reality does have a bit of a delay. There's a bit of a time lag between what you focus on and you literally creating your manifestation, bringing it closer to you and starting to shift into that reality and starting to literally conform your own reality, right? Your own experience. And seeing those physical changes actually come in, because like I said, there is a time delay and it follows on from your energy, your mental focus, where you're putting all your energy, literally. What are you thinking? What are you focusing on? Are you feeding into and allowing really negative feelings to just stay within you instead of trying to feel confident? Shift the whole mood, shift your mindset, get out of that victim mindset and feeling sorry for yourself. Obviously having a few bad emotions is fine, and that's not going to manifest. That's not what creates a manifestation. But if you hold on to feeling rejected and, disappointed and all these kind of negative feelings that tie into what you're focusing on in your 3D and feeling like your reality isn't shifting, movement isn't happening quickly, something's wrong with your manifestation, it's taking too long. If you allow those feelings about that to continue, you're probably not going to be thinking very positively. All of it's going to connect and all of it's going to create this negative cycle. So it's not that the emotions manifest, but they tie in and they show you where you're at, because part of the internal shift is going to be feeling better, feeling uplifted, confident, motivated, excited, hopeful. All of those are indicators that your mindset and body are literally responding to what you're focusing on, and it's been positive. It's been aligned with what you want to create. Remember that your reality is following on from where your dominant state is. What are you experiencing internally? Are your thoughts aligned with what you want to create? Are you thinking and going about your day to the best of your ability, thinking positively, just being the version of you who already has it? Ask yourself that. You are literally creating a new reality, a new time. You're going into that new timeline where your manifestation exists, but that only catches up. That only catches up with your current physical reality and overrides your current physical reality where there is a lack, when your dominant focus aligns with it. So you need to be able to focus on that and be consistent. So what does that mean? Dominant focus? Really, it's just, looping your affirmations, having the right mindset, thinking and mentally, internally going about your day as positively as you can, in alignment with what you have. What would that version of you be doing, thinking, acting like, speaking like, all those kind of elements. You want to try and align that as best you can, because it's all going to help. It all tricks your mind and your body into believing that it's real. It makes it all so much quicker and simpler. So the more you can dominantly focus on and think as if it's real, the more that reality starts to shift in. So when you think you're not experiencing movement, what would it actually look like? As I said earlier, it can be very subtle. It's not that SP immediately texts you or you immediately get the job opportunity, you immediately lose 10 pounds. It's not necessarily like that. Although if it's a tangible result like losing weight, then I suppose that kind of manifestation could look a bit different. But that's just an example. Usually it's quite subtle shifts or, in just internal mental changes, mental clarity, internal alignment, those kind of things, having dreams before the physical actually catches up. It is usually just internal at the beginning, in the first moments, the first parts of your shifting. That's a bit of a weird phrase, but you know what I mean. So yeah, mental clarity, focusing on it, knowing what it would look like, feel like, you can visualize it, you can just feel it, you can really experience it internally. And that's not that you delude yourself to the point of thinking you're literally living it right now, although your mind might start to get convinced at moments. I've definitely had that where I feel like, oh my gosh, this is true. I can feel as if it's real right now. And that's how I know when I'm super close to receiving it. But yeah, it's a mental clarity, internally aligning with it, So your feelings aren't the, be all end all. They do not manifest. If you have a bad day, it doesn't mean your manifestations disintegrate at all. But when you feel really good, that is a sign of conforming. That is a sign of aligning with it. When you're thinking from that version, you're visualizing it because your mind takes in imagery. That is one of the most powerful tools as well. But applying the repetition, convincing your mind, shifting your beliefs with that repetition, that is what movement looks like. It doesn't need to be the external confirmation. So you're developing new assumptions, but the 3D, it has a delay. It doesn't mean it's not translated or it's not had an effect. It just means that it's delayed in literally mirror reflecting back to you. So you're creating a new assumption of having that manifestation in your life right now, but it just hasn't physically reflected yet. That is still movement. That is still perfect movement. You're still perfectly on the way there. As long as you don't get caught up in that and start to spiral and waver and really, let go of building the momentum, you're perfectly on track. So when you find yourself not questioning your manifestation, not questioning your reality, trusting in it more, feeling more stable, more confident, just feeling more aligned, on track, and really just you will know what that feels like. Those are the best descriptive words and adjectives I could say to describe what that alignment would look like and to show you that you're on the right track. You're creating movement, because the movement, again, like I said, it is your thoughts, it is your feelings. When those become more stabilized and aligned with what it would be like to experience that reality, you know that your mind and body are conforming. So just to reiterate and focus on the things not to do and just to be aware of, if you obsessively check on your 3D reality, you're holding in place and reaffirming the old story, the old version, the literal reality where you wouldn't have that, your past, because in the present you have it right now. But in the past, when you were still thinking from the old version, you weren't thinking it's realistic, it's possible, it's yours. That is just the old reality, but you're going to reaffirm, hold it in place, and repeat that. If you are obsessively checking the 3D, looking at it, noticing and recognizing and basically reaffirming that it's not here yet, you still don't have it, looking for it, saying, I don't have it yet, so I'm going to go out and check for it. That's not how someone would think or act if they already had their desire and their ideal reality. So you want to make sure that you're not constantly looking for validation and proof from your 3D, because it's going to slow it down from shifting. It's going to slow down the visible movement even more if you're constantly saying, where is it? I need to go look for it. So try and stay as consistent as you can with your new reality, because as I said, and I've said this many times in past videos, your mind and your body don't know the difference. There is no logical, rational, intellectual thinking when you start to shift your beliefs and when you get to the subconscious level with repetition and consistency, your mind and your body will build new neural pathways. It won't be able to tell the difference between what you're just imagining and making up versus, something real. And remember that shift is going to be more energetic, internal, intangible before it's tangible and visible. So the shifts and the changes can be subtle and kind of, you have to trust in what you can't see yet, because it is happening. It's not going to be fully tangible, fully obvious in your face from the right beginning, but you have to trust in that. And yeah, just remembering that your 3D reality will have to reflect what you consistently and dominantly think, how you act, how you align with whatever version of reality you're focusing on that you want to create. So remember that you can create that version of your reality, bring it into your physical experience, but it's all about where you're putting your focus. So I'm going to leave this video here today. I hope you guys enjoyed, found that useful. If you did, please do thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.